Hi everybody, I'm Jack. This is Raw Tropical Living. Thanks for joining me today and welcome to the weekend. Got another little one of my weekend talks for you, a reading for you today. Found another good reading, actually a reading somebody shared on Facebook this morning. And a name kind of looked familiar and I looked around and I said, wow, this is some really good stuff. So anyhow, as you can see from the title, 20 Rules of Life, Ancient Wisdom. I do videos every day. Normally during the week I'm talking about the raw vegan lifestyle, a plant-based lifestyle, health in general, fitness, and on the weekends I like to go a little off the subject a little bit. Talk a little bit about, sometimes about my meditation practice and other times just readings that kind of resonate with me that I like to share with others. So if you're not already subscribed to the channel, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit that subscribe button now so you can come back and see more. Then click on the little bell and check send notifications so you will stay subscribed to the channel. Nice kind of overcast day here in Alabama. I'm starting to get really restless, and the restless means the brain is turning because I don't like to be restless for too long. Needing the fruit, needing the tropics, needing the sun, needing it all. So I'm starting to really formulate a plan on getting back down there after the first of the year, maybe in February, and it could totally change. I had talked about going to the jungle before. I might actually go and get a house and stay at the beach where I used to live and kind of take care of a bunch of different things. I got a couple of designers there I can work with, get some work done, visit some friends, do some blogging, do some videos from Costa Rica again, and eat some good fruit. But that's not what we're here for today. This is a really good reading, 20 Rules of Life. A Japanese samurai wrote almost 400 years ago that will change you. Now I'll read the little introduction here and then I got another little book over here. Each person's life is very different. No two can compare. But a Japanese Buddhist claims that there are 20 rules we must all follow to lead a happy and fulfilled life. Mere weeks before he died, Miyamoto Musashi created a list of the main rules he lived by. Born in 1854, he was an expert swordsman, a renowned warrior, and his teachings are still studied today. But most importantly, his rules for life are incredibly inspirational. According to the text, the way of walking alone, this is how we must all live our lives. And also too, there'll be somebody that takes every single one literally and they're like, you may not agree with everything. It's kind of like the late great Bruce Lee used to say, take what you can use, discard the rest, and make it your own. I knew this name had sounded familiar. Another one of my books that I've had for many years is the Book of Five Rings. This is considered the definitive interpretation of Miyamoto Musashi's classic book of strategy. Now a little bit about him. I'll read the preface to you here. Musashi is well known to most martial artists. He is considered the Kinsei, sword saint of Japan. While his teachings are essentially centered around swordsmanship, his teachings fall without question in the domain of study for practitioners of all the martial arts, including karate, judo, western fencing, and other killing forms as well, but only if they are used to take life in combat. The Book of Five Rings and Miyamoto Musashi's teaching on the art of strategy in combat based on swordsmanship. It must be understood that whether or not you practice the martial arts or use the teachings for other disciplines, there are profound truths to be gleaned from this work. Musashi's legacy. And this is the author of this one. My own personal involvement in the art of karate for nearly 40 years, along with my 10-year study of the rings, has led me to take the responsibility of interpreting these teachings. Okay, just a little bit more about the guy that did the interpretations here. So let's get into them. Number one, learn to accept life as it comes. For the sake of mental health, you must accept the life you are given. Stress, anxiety, and despair are natural parts of a person's life, and it should never be attacked. Acceptance of the most difficult aspects of life will make you stronger to their advances. Number two, abandon any obsession to achieve pleasure. As humans, we spend a lot of time chasing down pleasure. We give in to our cravings, reach higher for promotions and raises, and have become part of a society obsessed with sexual pleasure. Musashi claimed we should try simply to live life in the moment and enjoy pleasure when it comes to us naturally instead of striving for it. Number 3, do not act on an impulsive emotion. We're often told to follow our heart, but Musashi's teaching suggests this is never a good idea. When faced with a feeling that seems to have come from nowhere, following its path can lead to bad decisions. It is advised that we stick with what we know for sure and don't give way to impulse. Number 4, do not obsess over yourself. Self-obsession is common in humanity. These days, we are so focused on online presence, taking a perfect selfie, and striving for perfection that we forget what matters in life. Strive to separate from yourself and your ego for a better perception of what is important. Never allow jealousy to rule your life. Jealousy is a very strong form of hatred, and Musashi claimed that getting stuck in its grasp would ruin you. He said never be jealous of others and to simply be thankful for what you yourself have. Number 6, abandon attachment to desire. In the same way as achieving pleasure, desire only makes us want for things we may never gain. The idea proposed was to live not wanting more than you have and to wait for good things to come to you. Number 7, never live in regret. As we often tell each other, the past cannot be changed. Musashi believed that everything happened for a reason and it was all part of your path in life. Dwelling on things you once did could never change them. Number 8, do not dwell on a sad separation. Constantly thinking on a sad parting of friends or family prevents us from moving on and continuing our lives. Musashi thought that since there was no way to bring back the dead, they should be left behind in the past. Number 9, complaining should have no place in your life. Many of us find comfort in complaining when things go wrong, but according to Musashi's teachings, we should simply let these things pass us by. Dwelling on what is wrong only prolongs the past hold over your life. 10, don't let lust rule your life. Humans are sexual beings by nature, and so many people waste their lives on lustful thoughts. Musashi thought we should instead strive for love and lasting relationships. Number 11, keep your options open. Do not rule out matters of the future with closed-off thoughts. Keep your options wide open to allow for the best opportunities to come your way. Number 12, don't be a slave to your surroundings. Possessions and a luxurious home may seem important, but there are many more important things to treasure in life. Love, health, and life itself should be treasured above all else in the world. Number 13, learn not to be gluttonous. We as a society obsess over food and the pleasures of fine dining, or even just a good takeaway. However, Musashi believed that we shouldn't take so much pleasure in eating, and we should strip meals down to be filling but not necessarily tasty. 14, abandon possessions in favor of minimalism. Don't hold on to things you don't need anymore. In other words, if it once was important, it can still be cast aside now to live a pure and simple life. 15, do not believe something just because you're told to. Allow your own thoughts and beliefs to have space. Don't just follow the crowd and listen to others' opinions. Form your own ideas. 16, respect the gods, but do not rely on their guidance. God should be looked up to, but they cannot lead you through every motion. They need to be a figure of guidance, but in the end, a person must make their own path. 17, have no fear of dying. Fearing death only prevents you from living life to the full. Live each day individually and do not fear the consequences of each action. 18, this one's interesting from a sword maker. Do not use weaponry unless it is necessary. Despite Musashi's fame with a sword, he still believed that weaponry should be used sparingly and only when needed. He claimed that defending yourself was okay, but enforcing attack without reason was a sin. 19, do not put pressure on retiring with riches. Many of us save for our retirement age so that we can live a life of luxury, but the way of walking alone claimed we do not need possessions to live happily. Again, it was suggested we should live in the moment and not chase happiness in the form of possessions. And number 20, always protect your honor. Musashi claimed that the only way to be true to yourself was to follow your own beliefs and live life as honorably as you know how to. Like I say, some of those things, even with me, you know, I can't say every single one, all 20, like line up with my beliefs on everything and other ways of looking at things, but some pretty good wisdom there. This book, the Book of the Five Rings, and a lot of his thoughts have been kind of, this has become popular with business people too, kind of like the old text, Sun Tzu, The Art of War, among others. But Musashi was a purist, you know. He came from that samurai mentality. If you know anything about them, about that culture, about that time, you know, they were warriors, but they lived by a code. They just had a code they lived by, and honor was a big part of it. So anyhow, I just like to find these things. Like I say, this one was very spontaneous this morning. As I was just reading this, I just saw it like maybe an hour ago. Somebody shared it. So some of these I think about during the week, and some of them just happen and just pop up. So anyhow, I really hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up, and I will see you again tomorrow. Have a great weekend, and I love each and every one of you. Peace.